In 3, 2, 1. All you, honey.
Okay, a big hey, howdy, hey to everybody here. We are here to watch The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and I want to make a quick disclaimer. So I will be making some comments in here regarding the Romani culture, which you better know as, well, the G word that Esmeralda is referred to in this movie. And I will not claim to be an expert. I know slightly a little bit more than usual because I used to live in Romania with a very heavy Romani population. But if you want more accurate facts about Romani history and culture, I would recommend the YouTuber Florian. I'll be citing him as I'm going throughout here. Again, I'm a white person. I'm not an expert. I'll just be expressing what I know when giving my opinion on this. Okay.
Yeah. And this is our commentary on The Hunchback of Notre Dame, as she said before. And as you'll notice, it is on Disney Plus, and it does not have a warning in the front. Probably because...
Which is interesting.
Disney just doesn't seem to have any problems here.
People harp on... It does. It does, and I'll go through them. I mean, they harp on Aladdin, they harp on Pocahontas. Nobody talks about Esmeralda enough.
That's true. Esmeralda is probably...
We'll address.
Yeah.
No, don't get me wrong. I love Esmeralda, but I will admit she's not a perfect representation of her culture.
And really, what Disneyfied version of anything
we'll get into
is
when we get there.
Yeah.
She's slightly better than most other Esmeraldas, even from the original novel, but not perfect.
Yeah.
Probably the best version of Esmeralda, but not perfect.
And we'll get into that as we go along. And I want to make very clear from myself that on the topic of discussing the movie, and because if Disney were to remake it, I believe you couldn't remove it from the story, I will not be making any scruples about the word that is thrown around this movie. In fact, I'm going to come out and bite the bullet right now. It's probably going to alienate half the people watching. But when they refer to them as gypsies, they are definitely referring to it mostly in a negative connotation. Except when the characters refer to themselves as gypsies, which does happen at least a couple of times. But we're going to go ahead and get into this movie. Everyone have your copy ready? So that we can talk about this beautiful animation. Are we ready? You ready?
I'll talk about their use of the G word. I mean, I think in the historical context it's fine, but I'll talk about why we don't be using it in our modern connotation.
Right. Everyone, I'm going to begin in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so this movie is severely underrated within the Renaissance, and that's because the critics said it was way too dark for Disney.
I think it was...
Have you started, honey?
Yeah, I started.
Oh, there we go. That was weird.
Why is it so quiet? Oh. That would explain...
Once again, we have the writing of Alan and Stevens from Pocahontas.
Honey, I think you might want to...
Start like this!
Honey? I think you might want to reset on Discord. Alright.
Picking me out at the best part?
No, you need to just reset. This is another one of those flexes on the multiplane camera. Like I was mentioning with the Rescuers Down Under and such. But they're being a lot more subtle about it now. Slower camera movements.
I love the way they open this.
This song is great.
Yeah, and you know, it's even bigger than like the Bell opening number because it's just so dramatic.
It's cinematic in a way that's much different than the like the Rescuers Down Under. It's very much in that, like, this should have been an Oscar contender because this movie is great.
Yes.
And I think most of the problems with the movie, like being too dark, is again false advertising. They lean very heavily on the Feast of Fools.
Okay. All right. So, starting with our opening here. So, something that's puzzled Disney fans for ages is if that is Quasimodo's biological mother, why does he look very, very Irish? And okay, so Lorian said that it was kind of implying with the old stereotype that Romani people would kidnap white children and raise them as their own. I'd like to say, though, we can't really confirm whether that guy with her is
Actually the father?
Quasimodo's father. Could very well be her brother. Yeah.
That's true.
And I think there's actually here are three things I think might have happened.
Oh,
Either
God.
one... Can I talk?
The Tony J's voice, just great.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway. Can you hear me all right? Honey.
Yeah?
Alright, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I can hear you.
So I think one of three things happened. Either Quasimodo's mother had an affair with a white man, or two, there's some kind of recessive genes in there, maybe from grandparents, or three, which is the darkest version, maybe she was taken advantage of in the same way Frollo wanted to take advantage of Esmeralda. Yeah. Either way, I think that's the reason that she was on the run, because historically, whenever Romani women gave birth to kids of lighter skin, they would be taken away from them because they were assumed to have kidnapped their own children. Oh yeah, no wonder she's running away here. I think that makes the most sense. All right, I'm done with my little theorizing there.
All right, well, here comes God, and there's David Ogden Stiers, God rest his soul. Sure. Which is why you're raising your voice at him. This really is the most, like, Broadway a Disney film has been. Like, at least in like a prestige kind of show, like a show that's really heavy on its themes.
Yeah, Fizzy, I like your theory too, that Quasimodo was taken in by this Romani woman, then and that maybe he actually was abandoned,
God.
and then she found him, and yeah, that's a possibility too. Either way, this is essentially his mother, the only parental figure who cared for him.
I was gonna say that Frollo looks weird, but then I'm remembering, oh yeah, this is a younger Frollo, because this is a flashback.
Except he looks exactly the same.
No, I think there's some subtle differences. Because
it's on IMDb. He doesn't seem to age at all.
There's something different about the way they draw him going forward.
Yeah, Blue Heart's right. There is a stage musical of this.
And that version is really insane and awesome.
It kind of goes
and the backstory
more with the book,
of
like the fact that
and the story of
Frollo in the
Quasimodo's
book is-
heritage in the stage version is actually really heartbreaking. Because he actually
in the stage version, Quasimodo is Frollo's nephew.
Yeah.
And his brother had a little love affair with a Romani woman.
So.
Oh my god. Okay, the CGI and the bells works.
It's gorgeous.
And that
it's
is
simple.
how you open a movie, people.
And James
Baxter. It's a good way to
Baxter.
introduce a character too.
And James Baxter is our character lead on Quasimodo.
Yeah.
Or at least he definitely animates a lot of the best shots with Quasimodo.
This is how you introduce a character. Like, yeah, he's a very interesting looking person, but the first thing you see him do is be all Disney princess like with this bird. You know what I mean?
And the bird doesn't even bat an eye at his face because, honestly, the bird looks weirder.
Now, how do you feel about them erasing the fact that he's deaf?
I think it helps, like, the story flow so that he doesn't have to constantly ask people to repeat what they say. So, if nothing else, there's that.
Or maybe they thought he couldn't sing if he was deaf. I don't know.
That makes zero sense because it's musical theater. He wouldn't necessarily actually be singing. Like, most of the singing in musicals are non-diegetic. It's basically just dialogue in universe.
Okay, so these gargoyles, of course, are Disney editions.
Yeah, and...
Victor and Hugo, named after Victor Hugo. And then there's Laverne.
And... they're clearly trying to bank on the success of the genie by having these comedy gargoyles here. And... yeah, no, not even remotely. Like... Jason Alexander losing at poker to a bird is not the same as Robin Williams ad-libbing a bit where he's losing chess to the magic carpet. It's like one of them is a legit ad-lib and the other one is a scriptwriter trying to be funny desperately.
Okay, but you know what I think the gargoyles add to Quasimodo's character? I mean, for one thing, he'd be talking to himself the whole time. Maybe, I mean, I don't think it's ever really established whether these gargoyles are really alive or not.
They do, actually.
Maybe, yeah, but
we'll get there.
It also kind of leaves you guessing of whether he really is just talking to himself because he got nobody else.
I mean, I think at the very least in the stage production they leave it very ambiguous, but here they make it very, very clear with quite a few.
It's much clearer in the sequel. I mean, they make it much clearer in the sequel. But...
yeah, but they make it pretty clear in this movie, too. As far as a comedy character, or at the very least a real, like, good side character, Laverne is my favorite.
Oh, yeah, Laverne is, like... I mean, these are the parental figures he should have.
Yep. So the fact that he does have them...
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure someone coming into this for the first time will be wondering, like, is this all in his head?
Yeah.
I don't mind Hugo so much, I'll admit.
Hugo's great.
By him.
Hugo and Laverne are great. It's Jason Alexander who feels completely out of place here.
Hugo is Jason Alexander.
Oh, right, Hugo.
No, Victor is the Polish one.
Yeah, I mean...
I don't mind Jason Alexander in this. I really don't. Oof.
And right there is one good hint that they're actually alive, because they're right there.
Yeah, probably.
It's like, they're moving around on their own.
Okay, that's true. Okay,
of course, Frollo just assumes.
I love you. Like how he's going. I watched through those doors, and then Frollo.
Okay, now you see, right? They're darker.
Already, you see. Yeah.
See, you notice they're they're painting darker circles around his eyes and more defined wrinkles.
All right. All right. But yeah, we already see how Quasimodo's attitude just instantly changes the moment Frollo sets in, which is the typical reaction of someone who's being emotionally abused.
Oh boy.
The fact that he says forgiveness too is like, seriously, who was behind this script?
That was absolutely, yeah, that was brilliant.
Like festival, like, excuse me, forgiveness. So in the book, Frollo was the archdeacon.
Yeah.
Right?
They toned it down for the movie because Disney didn't want to alienate their family-friendly Christian audience or something like that.
I think also because there would have been a lot of questions of how, at least in this position of power, he's actually able to do all the, I lost my
all the legal mumbo jumbo of like having people arrested,
condemning the Roma. Yeah.
Yep. And here we go.
He's in it. Yeah.
This is the manipulation.
Prelude to Mother Knows Best.
Yep.
You guys gotta look for the Disney school comic out there. They have Frollo marry Mother Gothel, and it's
woof.
Like, wow, perfect couple, awful people.
This is absolutely
these musical moments are
evil.
awesome. I mentioned this when we were listening to it earlier.
Yeah.
How Quasimodo is following after Frollo's words.
Yeah.
He's repeating what he says.
Yeah.
Because Frollo's the one leading here. Quasimodo's just look. Even his figurine looks like a distorted version of how he actually looks.
Yeah.
Well, every other figurine's a lot more accurate to the people.
Yeah.
It shows you about his self-image. Oh, and this moment, Frollo, literally controlling the Quasimodo and placing him there.
Well, the moment he's holding the figure, they're singing at the same time in harmony. Mm-hmm. It's like,
yeah.
Smug, evil smirk.
He's not wrong, especially in medieval times. People shunned away from anything that was different.
Yeah.
Like, he's not wrong, but also, like, it's a pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah. God.
And now
and you can
we see his own voice.
Yeah.
And then it's slowly building up, getting louder, getting a little bit faster.
Tom Hulce might not be a singer. Okay, just because he wasn't necessarily a professional singer before this doesn't mean that he's not a good singer. Like, my God.
Okay. I'm so glad
he
they managed
holds
to get
these
Tom Hulce
notes
back for Once Upon a Studio. It's like, yay! I didn't expect him, but I'm
also
delighted.
If there's a roughness in his voice, it works for this character because he's a scrunkly little guy. God, that painting is beautiful.
Yes. What would I give if I could live out of this tower? This is Stephen Schwartz.
Yep.
Who, as I said in the previous movie, was responsible for Wicked. Oh, yep. Easter eggs! Easter eggs!
Yeah, you got...
There's Belle.
Somewhere in there is Pumbaa and the magic carpet.
Pumbaa, yeah. Like, you could just barely see Belle.
I see carpet.
There we go.
Yeah. Here we go!
I just love the parallelism.
James Baxter going into town! Off he goes!
That is
God!
Iconic.
And that's not even the best shot by James Baxter in this movie. That's just one of them.
Yeah, but you know, the song started with "Stay in Here," and
now he's
the second
singing.
half is "Out There."
Also, as far as anachronisms are concerned, did this tower exist?
The Eiffel Tower?
No, that tower right there.
Notre Dame?
No. That specific spire that he was standing on back there.
I can't confirm. I mean,
one thing I do know.
Exactly have pictures of the Notre Dame from where is this? 10th century? 12th century? I don't even know where in medieval times we are.
The book pretty much confirms the time period, but you'll see from certain angles the flying buttresses outside. Those definitely weren't there. So I've heard.
Well, you know, they had work with what they had. They visit Notre Dame, but you know they don't exactly have detailed
Records of what it used to look like. Yeah.
Kevin Kline.
Yep.
Okay, so one thing Disney fixed from the book was Phoebus.
Yep.
Phoebus was a jerk in the book. Like, and he was the only one to live too, because he didn't want to deal. Here we go.
And there's a negative connotation that we were looking for or talking about.
Yeah, that's a stereotype. Now, mind you, like with every other race, there's good ones and bad ones. All right. So one thing that Florian said that Disney did right by Esmeralda was actually make her darker skin, because in the book,
yep,
she was a white baby who'd been kidnapped by the Roma.
Yeah.
And also, they make her a lot feistier than she is in the book. However,
I think they're definitely...
her dress is an issue.
Yeah. Like the dress itself, or just the top?
Not just... Okay, never mind the revealing stuff. It's culturally inaccurate and goes more into how medieval paintings would paint the seductive Roma. So they painted her as the racial caricatures that people have been painting as the Roma as for centuries.
Which is basically the same thing that Aladdin was doing, so why doesn't this get a warning on Disney Plus? You wonder.
See what I mean? Like, if Disney's acknowledging what they did wrong with Aladdin, can we talk about
what they did wrong?
What they could have done better when representing the Romani people?
Also, I absolutely love that Kevin Kline just ad-libbed the name of his horse as Achilles just for this one punchline coming up.
Achilles heel.
Yep. God, I love it. And this I don't love. Well, I mean, I like it because it's a excellent beat in the story. And this is Frollo's music, essentially. Like, Hellfire is just his, like, motif even before we hear the song.
Yes, you're right. Phoebus's character was mixed with Pierre Gringoire, a person who exists in the real world, a poet who,
Just
so a plotline they leave out of this movie is that Esmeralda actually married somebody in order to save him from the rest of her people. She married him and still went with Phoebus. Let's see why they did that out. Like, because I'm like, Victor Hugo, what the hell is this?
I mean, his whole book was not even about the people. It was about this building that was falling apart in real time in front of him in his day and age when historical preservation wasn't a thing. So he was writing about how these people, like good or evil, this building will outlive them. And then it got the governments of France being like, you're right, we got to preserve this building because it's important. The architecture is art, and it tells us about the people and the world that it existed in. Love this simple animation. God.
Yeah. Well, there was a queen ant in there.
Yeah. Helps his metaphor here.
Okay, so let me say real quickly of why the G word is not accurate. It's a name that we white people have given to the Roma, and it was only and the reason that we called them that was because they were presumed to have been from Egypt.
Right.
But they're not from. We didn't come from Egypt. They came from India. And where the name Romani is not Romanian, by the way, and it doesn't refer to Rome. It comes from the Sanskrit word doma, which means drums, which refer to their caste, their occupation, musicians.
Right.
And there were quite a few
Down
different groups that emigrated.
All right,
the Roma
everybody.
specifically blended from the Sanskrit word that Roman, I think, which meant bearded, so essentially they're calling them bearded musicians.
Huh. All right, everybody, I want you to play a game of see how many CGI humans you can spot in the crowd. Which one's CGI and which one's 2D? Can you spot? Here's a hint. Look for boiling lines. And if you don't see them, they're probably CGI.
For people who don't know what Topsy-Turvy Day is, this whole thing is, the Festival of Fools, also known as Twelfth Night, would be on, well, as the song says, the 6th of January.
Yep.
Was essentially the day
the
people
6th
would
of January.
just be the opposite of what they were. Oh, I spotted them. Oh, it's obvious in that shot.
Yeah.
I do like how Clopin, Clopin's a lot more dastardly in the book.
I mean, he's a bit dastardly. I mean, he's a little dastardly later when we get to the Court of Miracles.
Like he's actually like, you know, this whole criminal lord in the book.
So he's basically the Godfather.
Yeah, going into
he's the kingpin.
Stereotypes, of course.
Of course.
But interesting fact that they leave out of this movie, where Clopin is Esmeralda's guardian.
Hmm.
Except January.
I love that line.
That's cheating, Stephen Schwartz.
It is not cheating. It is brilliant.
I'm joking.
I love how absolutely
like,
upfront that Clopin is. Also, let's point out, even if Esmeralda does this as part of the festival's performance, why does she basically also dress like this, just not red, the rest of the time, right? It's like her purple and white dress is just as revealing as this. Like, that doesn't make much sense, does it?
Well, you know, she has to look nicer. She has to get the money. I will say the dance is not really accurate to Romani dancing.
What about the music they're playing here?
I'm not sure.
It'd be interesting
you know,
to look.
This moment.
Literally pole dancing.
Like, guys, don't get me wrong. I love Esmeralda as a character.
She's a great character, but she is being treated like eye candy.
A fetish?
Basically.
Yeah.
I love those 3 people alone who were just bopping along to the music.
Like I said, at least they took out the whole thing about her being a white girl kidnapped by the Roma. And that she's actually Romani in here.
Yep.
Although the green eyes probably suggest that there's some mixing in there.
It's so interesting how Frollo hasn't taken to recognizing Quasimodo just yet.
Now, you could say Esmeralda's just kind of acting like this because, you know, it's for the show, and it gets her money, and she's desperate for money.
Which does seem to be the case. Like, the rest of the time, she doesn't seem so forward.
Yeah. She's like, you know, it's for the show. It's what the people like. Unfortunately, that is, like, I could probably compare her to the actress Rita Hayworth, who essentially had to whitewash and fetishize herself in order to fit in getting the Romani roles.
Hmm.
You don't know, Rita Hayworth was an actress of Romani descent who was very famous for playing those roles.
I've heard the name, yeah.
Yeah, you know, looking at Esmeralda's hair, I think maybe they took some inspiration from Rita Hayworth.
Probably.
Oh, God. It's so obvious in that shot when you're really looking at it.
When you're really looking for it. Huh?
Now, see...
I do love the use of the... I do love the use of the CGI crowd as a backdrop to just one guy in the shot, like the guy who poured in the flowers. Patrick, what are you doing? Patrick, what are you doing here?
Now, see, the difference between Mother Gothel's
He was so ugly that everyone died.
The difference between Mother Gothel's gaslighting and Frollo's gaslighting. Frollo's gaslighting had a bit more truth to it, because look what happens within the first 20 or so minutes to Quasimodo. Yep.
No, Squad, it didn't help at all.
Don't you hate it when the villain is sort of right? Also,
the sky has definitely turned, and now we're just gonna lean into it even harder.
It's
something that only animation could do.
Don't question the odd weather change.
It's not even a weather change. It really is just a lighting change. It's like the lighting is normal when looking at Frollo. It really is just yellowed out with Quasimodo as the focus. Whose lesson, perhaps?
Oh. Okay, now this shot here.
God, you can
she's
feel it.
Haloed. Yeah, Quasimodo's seeing her as an angel. Alright, Squad. Phoebus is a real bro, unlike in the book.
Rude.
See, I don't mind them using the G word in the historical context. No way anyone in medieval times would have been politically correct.
Yep.
Although it's probably more likely that in this time that Esmeralda wouldn't have referred to herself as the D word.
Because of how negative the context was.
Yeah, well, no, it's because it's not their name. It was a name given them the white folks. It's not the name they made for themselves, which was Roma.
Fair enough. Haha, I love this.
No, just good old-fashioned stage magic, sleight of hand.
Not witchcraft, stagecraft.
So Jolly actually wasn't a creation of Disney. Jolly is in the book.
Yep.
Yeah, Esmeralda had a goat that she trained to do tricks, and that was her. And that was their little gig on the streets.
Off we go. Oh. Oof. Crotch shot.
We carnival folks need to stick together.
Really gotta feel bad for that guy. Good lord, off he goes. That's also a great shot when she catches the helmet on her head. Well, that's a meet cute.
He's instantly in love. Now we had the meet cute. Now it's man, this woman's amazing.
Fair enough.
Oh, something that was pointed out to me, it was like a meme I saw, how all the three guys view Esmeralda.
Yeah.
Quasimodo views Esmeralda as an angel, and Frollo sees her as a devil.
A devil,
but
right.
From the way Phoebus just said, what a woman. He sees her as a woman.
He also sees, yeah.
Like the three different ways that a man can view a woman. And
it really
gets the girl in the end.
It really does make the perfect like trifecta of heroes with Quasimodo, Esmeralda, and Phoebus, and then your evil villain.
Oh God! And now he's even more afraid of going outside.
Yep. As if he wasn't already terrified of going outside for upsetting Frollo. Now he's terrified from going outside because he's kind of lived it already. Oh, and they're playing an instrumental of Out There while he's going back inside.
And then shutting the door.
Yep. He does not want to be out there anymore. God.
Oh, he knows. He knows. Famous, you were such a flirt. You know that?
He's incorrigible.
Oh, God. You just imagine being the Disney animator and, you know, visiting Notre Dame when you first enter like this.
That's, yeah, that's probably how most of them were like, God, this building is huge.
Yeah, it's such a serene place. And, you know, if you utter so much as a single sound like that, it echoes.
Echoes throughout the entire goddamn building.
Oh, God, their banter.
Yeah.
Nah. Eat your heart out, Pocahontas and John Smith.
Oh. That's a nice little play on words.
There's been debate about Jolly's gender, because they say he here, but there's a lot of stuff to suggest that Jolly is female.
Like the beard?
A little confusing. I don't know. Yeah. We're gonna talk about the sequel. I don't mind the sequel. Maybe it's not as good, but I can't hate it because of the couple.
You know what else is great?
We're not talking about that. But... yeah.
Is that, like,
Yes.
he's not only wearing gold and blue because he's the captain of the guard, but it's also a character design to set him apart. He's gold and blue. He's basically the most royal colors. And then all of the other guards are basically in all black. They're monochrome. They're black and gray.
And you know, I just noticed she's got gold and blue in her costume too.
Purple, which is also a royal color.
But there's
a
also
little
blue.
there's a little bluish in her.
He says, and drag her outside. And
okay, here's someone who clearly aged since the last time we saw him. The Archdeacon really aged.
okay, people who don't understand what the whole claiming sanctuary was in medieval times, you know, this is what criminals were allowed to do. This, like their way of seeing the light, but also it meant that they couldn't leave the church.
Yeah.
Oh,
and creepy moment.
Oh.
That was very well animated. They were trying to squeak us out. They definitely did a good job.
Disney not really shying away from that sexual harassment there. Even just yeah, sure, right. It's her fault that you are sniffing her.
See, that's the problem. And also maybe a commentary on why, like, as anachronistic as her outfit is, it's not something to point to, oh, look how they're sexualizing her, because someone wearing clothes is not a reason to sexualize them, which is exactly what Frollo is doing.
I know, but the point I was making before is that it's more in tune to the caricatures of Romani in medieval times, not what they actually were. Not what they actually were.
That is true.
If you look up their actual attire, it's not really that provocative. Colorful, yes. But
one easy fix probably would have been to get that shirt on her shoulders. If nothing else. But her character design, her color palette was very carefully chosen.
Contrary to popular belief, there are actually quite a few Roma who are Christian. And the majority of them, I think, in Romania were Orthodox Romanian. Christian, you know? Armenian Orthodox Christian. I'm messing up my words.
Gonna happen. Yeah, no, it's definitely... Yep.
Oh god, this song just... It honestly resonates with every marginalized group there is.
Yep. To be a little...
It's like, yes.
To be slightly...
They don't even say Jesus' name, but just like...
That's true.
I wonder, were you once an outcast? Yes, he was.
Yeah. And then...
Oh, look at how, like, she's put in the shadow here. Like, you know, their prayers seem to be overshadowing hers. It
feels like that to her, but it's but from the lyrics, it's kind of the these prayers from people is basically the fucking Good Samaritan story, and Esmeralda is the Samaritan. Everyone else is just passing by. It was like don't even care. Like, they wouldn't care for Quasimodo. They just pass him up by the side of the road if he was beaten and bloodied, but Esmeralda does stop to help. And to be slightly reductive to just explain how this song functions, it's basically to this film what We're a Couple of Misfits is to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's this understanding of, like, I know where I am, and, well, I can accept help, or, like, you know, lean on someone in order to, like, be, like, instead of, like, giving up myself, instead, like, embracing who I am. And like she says, I thought we all were children of God. It's like...
Yeah, and Quasimodo listening to her, and that's what I mean, she's beautiful, yes, but that's what's really drawing him to her.
No coincidence that...
Oh, jeez. And you preach peace and love and all that.
Right. Huh. Ha!
So
If
Jolly is a he.
Yep.
We've had gay folks long before the Beauty and the Beast remake.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not used to interacting with people.
Yeah, the only one he's interacted with is some... Yep. Also, that was a very seamless transition, too.
Can I work between a goat and a stone figure? I have no idea.
Yeah, it depends on who you ask.
I don't know. You've heard of the myth of Pygmalion. He worked out well with the stone figure.
Yep.
I'm kidding.
Technically. I'm not bad, I'm just drawn that way.
Now, see, like, all these figurines are just detailed.
So accurate.
And meanwhile, his
Dolly?
Quasimodo's is actually a lot more freaky looking than he actually is.
Well, not so much freaky looking, so much as like just
looking, but
crude.
Maybe not accurate to detail because that's how he sees himself. Just absurd.
Dolly.
Bye, Shepherd. Okay, maybe I'm not using the right words, but you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Those bells are huge. Bam.
And Paris is still beautiful. Still a beautiful landscape.
Yeah.
It's a lot different, but still beautiful.
Yep.
Well, at least she's not mad at him for saying it.
And yet he keeps you locked upstairs.
Oh, you're right. You're right. She did say you have all this space to yourself because she lives in the Court of Miracles, which is overcrowded.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's not Quasimodo's words, but
It's not.
you know,
I don't even think. I don't even think. Like from palm reading, I don't think a monster line is an actual line you can read on someone's hand.
but obviously it's not. She's doing it to cheer him up.
Yeah.
Yes, Esmeralda is best friend material.
Yeah.
I mean, you did do a whole lot of acrobatics earlier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not?
Just don't scare the goat.
That's a good little line there.
I love the delivery too.
Where we're going, we don't need doors. Nope. Definitely not while carrying someone, that's for sure. And a goat.
So technically true, but also technically false.
I mean, we have seen him climbing around.
Yep.
Made sure to show all that.
I mean, the strength alone from ringing the bells. That's why his muscles are so freakishly huge.
You know, he's got nothing better to do but to just climb around and explore.
Yep. Chuck, yeah, put that on the ledger of I can't believe that actually worked. Somebody document that one.
Absolutely ridiculous. That worked. Auzi did it before Tarzan. You're right. Okay, honestly though, Esmeralda, don't you think kissing him on the cheeks giving him the wrong idea?
I feel like she had this understanding that, like, it would get him to shut up. And she also doesn't feel that way about Phoebus quite yet. He's still kind of a...
You know, I've only just noticed she's barefoot this whole time.
The calluses on that woman's feet.
It does have a lot of...
God.
Now this shot is cool because we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Love that.
He did that so well.
It was so good.
Like, you thought it was just a stare down, but like, nope, he's holding him there. Yeah, Phoebus is a really stand-up bro in this movie.
He's
but in the book,
such a... Here's the thing. At least unlike fucking John Smith, they're doing this to a fictional character. Like, I don't think we need to keep harping on how the fictional character was a jerk and then Disney decided to make him an absolute friend.
No. I'll tell you how much of a jerk he was in the book. So after Esmeralda was framed for attacking Phoebus, and then, you know, Phoebus recovered, but then he sees Esmeralda being held off to a place of execution. He's like, well, I don't want to have to deal with this, so I'm going to go to my fiance now. Yeah, so
Woof.
Disney definitely fixed Phoebus's character.
Also, these bits are actually different songs. Like, the whole bit, like, the world is cruel, the world is wicked, is actually part of the song Out There. Like, it's actually... Or at the very least, it's labeled in the same track. It probably is a different song. But here, absolutely love the introduction here. It's kind of
Why does this song not
reverse.
end up on the Disney classics more often?
I don't even know. No, I don't know why. That's so...
And the light into his face.
Yeah.
See what I mean? I mean, obviously he cares for her in a better way that Frollo does, but it's still kind of idolizing a bit.
Yeah.
Like an angel.
Laverne's drawing is really good.
Yeah, it's the foil of Heaven's Love versus Hellfire.
Absolutely love it. It's basically the reverse of, like, in here and out there. It's Heaven's Light versus Hellfire.
Yeah, showing more about how...
Because, like, I have to imagine that the first...
The characters foils of each other.
I have to imagine that the first part of that is actually a different song, or like just a short little number called In Here versus Out There. You know? And the song ends when Frollo and Quasimodo sing in harmony. We get that dialogue break and we seamlessly transition right into...
Okay, I got Apostles, Michelangelo, Maria the Virgin, or Mary the Virgin, rather.
He basically lives in the Palace of Justice, like has his own room up there, probably. Ah, beautiful.
This is why Frollo is probably the... Think about Frollo, he is a guy that you can meet in real life. He's got no magic.
Yeah.
But these guys exist, and that is scary.
Even though he's Judge Frollo, he is, and he's not technically a man of the church, he's still a man who thinks himself a God-fearing man, a holy man.
He's a conservative Christian.
In more ways than one. Ba-da-ba! Also, that fire animation is great.
Animation, fun fact about the fire animation, they really had to darken those lines of Esmeralda's dress because they didn't want to make her look completely nude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's be fair. It's artistic. You gotta be...
Yes,
Love
sure,
this.
it's her fault. This is like every creep's excuse. Like, oh, it's not my fault that I tried to take advantage of her. It's her fault.
It was
for
the
being
way
so
she was
seductive and
dressed.
pretty.
Like, fuck you, man. Also, was that just like Satan's court that he was in the middle of?
Yeah. Now, while the gargoyles may or may not be in Quasimodo's head, this whole thing is in Frollo's head.
Yes. And then she's tied to the stake, and then spirit.
Yeah. You know, the double meaning of hellfire with literally burning her, and the hellfire that's, the
burning
fire
him.
of lust. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. See, Quasimodo's obsessing, but at least he's not like, I'm totally gonna make her mine and all that. Gonna make her mine or else.
It's like, this whole villain song is basically, I am a holy man who has succumbed to my sins because I am a man and she is a woman. And it's like, it's all shitty excuses and shit. And he's like, it's a beautiful number about, like, just showing how absolutely evil this man is. He's
in the
just
shadows with the crosses.
also this
Like,
is
really
kind of
fallen from grace.
Yep, and it's
Whatever
all
grace-
and
if you have
also
grace to begin
very
with.
also very much very likely that the shadows and the way they're warping and flying across very much a reference to A Night on Bald Mountain from Fantasia, which well was Satan and his
line.
yeah, that's a great line.
I see. No, Phoebus's response too is like, I see. Like, do you really?
He's like, yeah, no, that makes sense. They won't sell her out.
You know, at least this more so than the book showed a bit more of the oppression of the Romani people. Maybe not entirely accurately, but at least they addressed it a bit more.
It definitely works at the angle of like how Frollo is really tightening his grip on everything.
Yeah, because I think the book kind of villainizes the Roma a bit more. Like I said, Klopan's a complete crime lord.
They do seem to run that angle when we get into their den later.
Okay, but at least for that, it can be explained of why they do that. We'll get there.
Well, way to go, David Ogden
here
Steyer
we
is
go.
playing yet another character in the movie.
And here is Phoebus's great character moment.
I mean, technically, Frollo is his superior, so this is...
Now, this is the character moment that John Smith did not get.
Yep.
So if you want to create that white person who's realizing that they are on the wrong side, then this is the way to do it.
Yep. Man who literally puts himself in harm's way.
Oh. Yeah.
Ugh.
And then immediately after.
Oof.
Yeah. And
Off you go.
This is why these two are an underrated couple, because they save each other.
Of course, again.
They really are equals.
Well, they didn't hit the horse.
The only thing Frollo cares about is his horse.
God, Tony J was a perfect pick for this character.
I mean, these are the same directors as Beauty and the Beast, so they probably remembered. Oh, remember that guy who voiced the what's his name? The Asylum guy.
The Asylum guy. Let's bring him back.
Yes, give him a bigger role because he has.
He has a great voice. That's why you hired Tony J. He just has a great. Yep. Woof. Yep. I mean, what do you think?
I mean, you were kind of making fun of that, but I think it's that comedy relief from all the seriousness we just dealt with in the 5 minutes. Oh god, I was feeling dark, and then
Yeah, I feel like it's a bit of whiplash though to cut that hard. See, that's funny.
Oh.
I guess if nothing
Or
else,
that's
the
the
cards
card
do
trick.
create like a great visual.
Oh, here's another line I love from this movie. I used to quote it all the time as a kid. No, you're the fat, stupid one with the big mouth.
Woof. And if nothing nothing
No,
else,
maybe it's the delivery.
if nothing else, this song is great. Like,
People say it doesn't really fit in this movie.
it really does, though.
It's the one bit of comedy relief we
And-
get before things
and
get
this-
even more intense.
God. That is the kind of comic relief I like. It's just a morbid joke.
And you know why it works is because, this is all about how, yeah, you can get the girl, but then 2 minutes later, you know what happens.
Love how he turns the hot dog into a cigar.
All this hope, all this building up, and...
And also, this is the number that the gargoyles get to express, like that through this context, they really do care about Quasimodo. It's like they always have cared about him. And again, it's also like...
Where do you think these gargoyles come from? Do you think maybe, like, they're his guardian angels or something?
I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest.
No, Jason Alexander's pretty good at singing, too.
Yep. I mean, Jason Alexander was in Brandy Cinderella. He's a...
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So, yeah.
I remember. Disney censoring.
I love this lyric.
Yeah.
That's great.
Maybe
I feel like
Steven Schwartz,
Steven. I feel like Steven Schwartz did a similar rhyme in like Popular. I'm trying to recall though what it was.
Popular. I'm trying to think.
Oh God.
I'm sure we'll come up with it. I'm sure it'll come to us.
Bring her. That is really cool. Good job.
Yeah.
And then that's pretty funny. That's really good.
Okay, though some of this is in his imagination, because
Yeah,
in the next second...
yeah, like musical numbers don't happen in the context of musicals. They're
there.
basically dialogue.
Yes, all that hyping up that, yeah, you're gonna get the girl, but then in walks him.
And hey, in the context of like, how did Flounder get the statue in Ariel's grotto? At least Esmeralda has a big guy to help her carry Phoebus's body up.
Yeah. You know, I'm sure she has lots of friends in the Court of Miracles.
She's got friends in low places.
Wow.
What? They are literally in low places. They're being prosecuted by literally everyone in the city. Except for the common public, because the common public sees them as entertainment. And then some of the common public think of them the way that Frollo thinks of them. Thieves and cutthroats and shit.
Now this is the movie that teaches you sometimes one you like doesn't like you back in that way.
Yeah. I feel like that at least captures a bittersweetness, which kind of works like...
Yes, because we're happy for what we're sad for Quasimodo.
You know,
like...
I'm not a big fan of the term, but, bruh, you got friend-zoned hard. And a reprise of Heaven's Light. Ooh.
It's like, cause he already had the Festival Fools thing, and then he had hoped that Esmeralda could maybe like him. Like, maybe I'll have this one love, but then that's not true either. So this poor guy, like everything Frollo's been saying this whole time is affirming.
You know, as much fun as I can make fun of the losing to a bird line, it's like, at the very least, it gives the playing cards that really create a real motif in this sequence of events. Like when he tears up the Ace of Hearts.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
That his heart is literally broken.
Now that's the difference between Quasimodo and Frollo. Frollo's rejected, he goes all psycho. Quasimodo's rejected and he's still like...
He's still a... Because the thing is...
selfless.
Here's the thing. It's like, are good and evil, like, nature? A person is good or evil naturally, or is it nurtured into a person? And I think there's some truth to both, because Frollo is a terrible soul. He is a wicked man to the core. And Quasimodo is a saint, essentially. Like...
Yeah.
Those grapes look really delicious.
I know. They're so purple.
I just wish they were a little shinier, because grapes are supposed to be shiny.
Yeah,
They're a little too matte.
I don't think the aliens wanted to spend too much time on the grapes, and they would take away from the rest of the scene.
No, I think like because you
know?
you see a highlight in Quasimodo's eyes, you could have just put one of those on the grapes.
Yes, but we want the highlight on Quasimodo's eyes because he's the focus, not the grapes. You know what I mean?
Anyway.
He just kind of appeared on the table there.
Well, it's been there the whole time, really.
You're the one who made the order.
Yeah.
Liar. Liar, that mother was trying to save you despite you looking different, despite the risk of having a lighter-skinned kid.
It's not even...
Never mind
here's the
deformity.
thing. This goes beyond spiritual abuse, because no good, God-fearing man would ever be like this. You know what?
It's
like, you know,
emotional
yes,
abuse.
It is very much emotional abuse. Especially, like, he doesn't slap Quasimodo, he destroys his art. It's like, that is emotionally abusive.
You recovered very fast from that injury.
Yeah.
You really don't get it, Phoebus. How does no one catch on that Quasimodo had a crush?
Yeah.
Except for Frollo, maybe.
But I mean, like... They don't even need to say anything.
Yeah. See, being a hero is not about getting the girl. Oh, and then when he looks at his palm, remembering what Esmeralda said.
Yeah.
Like, you know, she may not love
And
you
then
romantically, but...
He looks...
Like, she would do the same for you. She did do the same for you. Yeah. Like, Disney really had balls for this. Just...
God, give the man a heart attack after he's been stabbed in a primary, like, vein.
I mean, Disney had balls for this. I mean, for what they changed in the story already, they still didn't have Quasimodo get the girl.
Yep.
And it's showing kids that sometimes you're not going to get the girl or guy or person or the one you love. And it's gonna hurt. It's always gonna hurt.
I love that. That and the animation is just great.
I really wish they did the captions for Phoebus too.
Yeah, because you can't really make out what he's saying. You guys tell us if the captions on Disney Plus tell you what Phoebus is saying. The poor guy.
Remember I showed you those YouTube shorts where like Disney heroes and whether or not that guy could take him in a fight?
They do the captions for both on Disney Plus.
Quasimodo, no. You cannot take Quasimodo in a fight.
You wouldn't be. He's got more muscles than friggin' most pro wrestlers combined.
It's like, yeah, sure.
Yep.
And here we go into the catacombs.
The catacombs.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Now, here comes a questionable scene from Disney.
Yep, because it kind of leans in on the whole maybe Frollo was right thing, which kind of confuses the message that they're trying to get across.
Mm-hmm.
Is that they're not what Frollo makes them out to be?
Or of course, you could argue that they're acting this way because they don't want their hideaway to be revealed, and then they'd all be slaughtered. I mean, what would you do in this situation? I mean, they got Frollo and the guards after them, so...
Yep.
And like you said, it was the captain, the guard, and Frollo's henchmen from their perspective. I know in this song, it's like, they're calling them the scoundrels and all that.
It's
and then this...
It's kind of a yo-ho, a pirate's life for me vibes, the way they refer to themselves as scoundrels.
Yeah, like hornets protecting their hive. I don't know, but they were showing like the, pretending to be blind, pretending to be,
Yep.
Disabled and.
Yep.
Yeah. Also, some of those faces on the Roma, they're a bit iffy. I mean, but in the book, Clopin actually did some pretty criminal stuff. I'm trying to say. And he did care about Esmeralda as a father, but...
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah, from their perspective, like, oh, these are Frollo's lackeys. They're gonna rat out on us and we're all gonna die. Oh, again, some of those clothes. Yeah.
Yep. Now, that is...
Well, I was about to say Phoebus was a real bro for, making sure to include Quasimodo in the gratitude.
That's...
there.
Hey, Frollo would have showed up either way, like... Hidden down in the catacombs where nobody would think to go.
This guy does not need magical powers to be an evil presence. Ugh. Bad touch, bad touch.
I mean, he's technically lying. Like, yeah, she's right that he is lying. Quasimodo didn't lead you here. You stalked him, essentially. And yep. And here we go.
Okay, who is behind the choir in this movie? Excellent.
Whoa, boy.
Oh yeah, you hear that she's done nothing wrong. She is innocent. That's coming from all the villagers there.
Because she hasn't done anything wrong. Name one thing she did wrong.
Free a prisoner? Legally,
like,
probably.
Wait, the Quasimodo a prisoner?
I don't know.
Like, no, not really. He was being made a pariah. He wasn't anyone's prisoner.
Resisting arrest is probably the only
crime, the only
wrong.
technical crime. But it's not really a crime when the justice system is corrupt. You know, technically not a crime, so technically not illegal.
Yeah. Frollo, meanwhile, does not handle rejection well.
No. He wants her to give in to his lust, or he's gonna kill her. He's a rotten man. Alright, and this is a great line. This line is beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Beautiful.
I'm glad they used that line in the stage production.
Yeah, because,
like, we're only
yeah.
made of stone, we thought you were made of something stronger. Something like that.
Stronger.
Ooh, and here we go. Here we go. Now, this is an Oscar moment.
I think this also comes from the book, because part of the whole thing is, like, about, like, this building is crumbling.
Yeah.
This
he
building
sweeps down and rescue. Yeah, he sweeps down, rescues her from the pyre.
But also, I mean, like, how he
sanctuary.
kind of Samson's part of the building.
Mm.
Cause, like, oh, here it is. Here is the James Baxter shot. Here it goes. And starts now. Wait, no, hang on. Almost there. Jump the gun a little bit. There we go. Here it is. Here it is.
Kind of works
Here it is.
because you can barely see them.
Here it is. This is the shot. This is the money shot right here.
Except in the front. Except in the front.
Yep. And here we go again. And oh, up he goes. Now
Yeah,
this
seems like that's
right
not
here,
blood there.
this is the best James Baxter shot in the whole movie. Look at this shit. And it's everything going on. It's James Baxter's beautiful animation and being placed on the background so perfectly. It's just gorgeous. God, what a moment, right? And then he gets to take that with him to his grave, that he did that. That was his shot. That's amazing. He better have that engraved on his tombstone. I animated Sanctuary in Hunchback of Notre Dame. Like, that should be on his tombstone. Like, just that. Off they go. Good night, Patrick.
Here's Phoebus's moment.
Yep. Hey, at least Phoebus understood. Hey, look!
Look!
But seriously, look at that. Phoebus understood the point of Victor Hugo's novel. He's gonna destroy the building! Stop him! That was also a great exchange. And here he goes.
Unlike Book Phoebus, who just didn't want to deal.
Well, these are all some pretty good moments here.
Yeah.
There's even fighting of the CGI villagers in the background, too. Oh.
I'm free. I'm free. My dad quotes this all the time.
Monsieur.
I really can't believe my parents let me watch this when I was itty bitty preschool age.
Basically, the Goofy scream is the Wilhelm of animated movies, particularly Disney films.
They built that whole catapult just for that.
Very Wile E. Coyote of them.
Hi.
Love
and
it.
Steven Schwartz ends up doing Wicked.
Yep. Come on, get that oil hot enough. Pour that oil, pour that oil.
Did they have to pay MGM for that music? Maybe.
I don't know if it fell under parody or not. If they had to license it, then we'll know by the end of the credits, because they'll have to credit the original composer. Melted Metal.
You know, I guess by having Frollo be the judge and we have the Archdeacon here, it's showing like a true Christian versus one who claims to be Christian.
Yes, someone who actually understands. Like, the Archdeacon is someone who would show up to a pride parade and give all the children disowned by their parents hugs, where Frollo would be like, you know, at a Trump rally, just to put it that way.
Okay, so she did actually, I think, die of smoke inhalation in the book.
Yeah. Everyone dies, except Phoebus. Everyone dies, and Phoebus was a jerk, and he lives. It's like,
yes.
That's the whole point in the book. Everybody dies because the whole point of the book was, it was basically, guys, we gotta preserve this building because it literally outlives everyone. And this one jerk gets to live. Like, imagine that. This one jerk gets to live, but this building is falling apart, and it's outlived all of these good people who have died for what? That's kind of the point. That's the point. That's the point of the book.
Yeah.
Esmeralda was hanged in the book.
Stage production too, where stage production they do die too.
Yeah, the stage production really goes with the book's ending, which again you can do on stage easily because the cast gets to come out and take a bow afterward. It's kind of depressing in a feature production.
Yeah, especially like, you know how I was saying with the Little Mermaids that like, oh yes, the one you love doesn't love you back, so the only solution is for you to die.
Yeah, not very helpful, is it?
Yes. That's not something to show kids.
He is done listening to Frollo.
Like the suicide rate is terrible enough. Let's not make movies for young children where we do that. Yeah.
Give it to him, Quasi.
Oh, Disney and your fake out deaths. You should have checked your pulse.
Burning at the stake was the movie's idea, huh? Well, they did the burning at the stake because Frollo was claiming witchcraft, even though he probably more rightly then knew that it was actually
burning at the stake was for heretics, not witches.
I guess it kind of is appropriate for how Frollo ends up going out here.
Yeah, you're right. It does work for the story with the whole Hellfire theme.
Yep.
And the burning and...
It really... But it also works out for how... Because Frollo himself is a heretic. And he falls into the molten metal down there.
And putting him back in the swaddle.
Yeah.
That was a good, nice touch.
Yep.
Ed. Only leads you to your demise. Because Esmeralda's strong, but Quasimodo's a big boy.
And, hey. You gotta give Frollo some credit there.
Yeah, that was a big swing. Ooh, here we go.
Yeah.
Now he looks more demonic.
His eyes are bright yellow. His eyes and teeth are bright yellow.
As soon as you say that.
That's another thing that leads to the idea that the gargoyles were definitely totally completely alive.
Yeah.
That's one of Satan's angels there.
Mm.
And God, thank you, Phoebus.
I see people watching this movie for the first time, and they're like, "No! Oh God!" Thank you.
Right? Absolutely. God heard Frollo, and then he was like, "Hey, Satan, could you take this gargoyle over here?" It's like, "Can do, fella."
Yeah, this is definitely the movie to show to those naysayer adults to say, "Oh, Disney's only for kids." Show them this movie, and then ask their opinion.
Yeah. The thing is, because but because of how this films, because of this. Yeah.
Hands.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so good. It's like, yeah, I'm okay with you guys. I'm fine.
It's like.
It's the acceptance that it's so good.
Yeah. And the animation is just so pretty. Also, you want to talk about poetry and how great this is and like how it all comes together so well. Look at this! Look at this! They both technically died. And after they quote unquote died, they're dressed in all white. You notice that? It's like Phoebus gets shot, and then like when he's being dressed up and healed, he's been wearing nothing but that white shirt the whole time. And Esmeralda being put on the pyre. I love this. I love this. You look at this little girl. She has the same exact lack of chin as Quasimodo, and the same singular like buck tooth up front. And I just love that. Like they're using that to mirror like the acceptance that she is she's the mirror through which everyone can see that he's just one of them. It's just
and the childhood innocence too.
Yes.
The unprejudiced child.
It doesn't even matter what her name is. It doesn't matter who she is. It's that she looks vaguely like Quasimodo. Helps the symmetry of it.
This line.
Oh, not just this line.
And how it goes back in the beginning. What makes a monster and what makes... Yeah.
And the note this guy holds. Here he goes. He's going out.
So he doesn't get the girl. Yeah.
God, that
doesn't get the girl, but he's accepted into society.
Yep.
And he can live his life finally.
3 cheers from the CGI townsfolk. And 1 more punch.
Yeah,
God,
it's January.
God. And now we get a look at the city. My God, how beautiful. How fucking beautiful. Like, for all its faults, what a good fucking movie. Gary Trousdale and Kirk Wise.
Gary Trousdale and Kirk Wise.
Don Hahn is the producer.
And produced by Don Hahn. I mean, same Beauty and the Beast a team.
The animation screenplay by all those guys. Menken and Schwartz.
Alan Menken and Steven Schwartz, yes. And
Menken for the score.
I can see how this helped lead Steven Schwartz into Wicked, because it deals with some similar themes.
Literally, she says, "God help the outcasts." That's the song. And Elphaba's outcast. Like, he writes this story specifically very well. You know? Like, and the thing is, like, you can't say that the lyricist for the songs in a musical show, even if it's a movie with other, like, story writers.
Steven Schwartz did the lyrics and the music for Wicked. He just he did a full solo on the music.
But what I mean is, like, in this context where there are other people working on the screenplay and shit, he still owns the story, essentially. The visual development by James Baxter at the top right there. Glenn Keane there.
Lisa Keane was involved in the character.
Several people on the story. Layout. Give it up to our layout artists. They're the ones that make those shots. Like they say, okay, we need to use CGI for this shot. It's like, all right, character animation. Quasimodo, supervising animator James Baxter. Supervising animator Tony Fusil for Frollo, Kathy Zielinski. Supervising animator Bruce Emmons for Phoebus, Clopin, Danny Galote, Gargoyles. Jolly, Kent Hammerstrom. A lot of different animators on the rest of the Gypsy crowd. Yep. And then the in-betweeners, guys. These credits are going by way too fast because all these people deserve all the credit in the world to bringing this to life.
So this song in the credits is actually used in the stage production.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
So, yes, there are definitely elements of the book that Disney fixed, making Esmeralda a much more active heroine for one, and actually making her Romani.
Yep. And you know,
not that whole crazy white girl kidnapped by Roma.
Yeah. And let's be honest with ourselves, right? Because like at the end of the day, with all this, like, it's just like.
The story is so incredible, and it's definitely dark, but I think it's just the right amount of dark. You can still show it to someone young, and they don't. I mean, it introduces them to the horrors of the world that they are like to encounter: prejudice, racism, and predators.
It's like, Ruth Lambert. Give it up to Ruth Lambert for the casting.
And you know, for the young boys, teaching them about toxic masculinity. Like, do you want to end up like Frollo or Quasimodo or Phoebus here?
Just
again, they fixed Phoebus, who was pretty much a toxic male in the book, but no, Phoebus is a bro in here.
And honestly, like, for all the stuff that was not accurate to the book, the directors Trousdale and Wise have actually like compared like that they really loved the comic magazine adaptation of it, like way back, like kind of back in the days of like Strange and Fantastic Tales, those kind of comics. There was an adaptation of Hunchback of Notre Dame that was kind of more similar to the Lon Chaney movie.
Yeah, I've seen the Lon Chaney movie.
And so it kind of, and so in terms of like why the movie only has someday.
All for
Cyclone.
One.
Okay, we got to get to the song
I think
credits.
Cyclone was the da 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 da. We did get to the songs already. That was it.
Well, yeah, but I don't think we got to the musical, like the.
Yeah, it said it was music by Alan Menken and lyrics by Stephen Schwartz, and then they meant someday performed by All for One.
I thought we were gonna get a section with the musical numbers. Post-production. Never underestimate post-production. Like dialogue mixer, Doc Kane. Give it up to Doc Kane. I can understand what everybody was saying.
Executive in charge of production? What does that mean? No one really knows.
With special thanks to the support staff of Walt Disney Animation, those tireless animators who made the film possible. And the soundtrack available on cassette and compact disc, distributed by Buena Vista Pictures Distribution. Hey, that's my line. Don't step on my line.
I forgot that was at the end. Maybe because I skipped the credits.
Well, there you go, everybody. That was the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
It's way better than Pocahontas, Katzenberg.
It is way, way better than Pocahontas. And the unfortunate fact of the matter is that this film basically set a precedent that because of how it did critically and how it did critically and with audiences, Disney never did another film like it, and they're worse off for never having done another film like it, honestly.
Yes, they were criticized for this and Pocahontas for dealing with such dark themes, and so when they were doing Hercules, like, okay, we got to make this more lighthearted.
And let's be honest,
Which worked for Hercules,
yeah,
I will say.
Like, Hercules definitely leans so far into the fictional aspect of it that it doesn't even resemble any of the religions it's taking from, and it just has full cartoon fun with it. But we'll be getting to that next week. Thank you all so much for joining us on this gorgeous movie. My God. And if you're viewing this after the fact, thanks for watching this gorgeous movie. Like, fuck my live stream at this point. Just watch the fucking movie. And until next time, remember to take care, stay safe, and be kind in all that you do. Au revoir, à bientôt. Bonne nuit.
Je t'aime, mon amour.